they just do it right in your face. And people out there, it's just amazing to me that people out there just, it's the same with all the agendas that the Fortune 100 are pushing in league with all the globalist governments, and it's just like, you really think you're being rebellious or like scientific by going along with these people? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Oh my god. Yeah, and the other thing, Jay, I recall back in the day, we were looking at I remember our friend and listener Shredder was sending us videos like back in 2015 of like big luxury brand CEOs sitting around having like conferences about how they would remain you know, rich, how they would remain in the Fortune 100 and in the elite in this new climate. And so they've been working on that for a long time. They know. I think that freaks everybody out. No, this causes a dissonance now to see them literally just pissing money down the toilet, like billions of dollars. Target lost $17 billion in 2 weeks. I mean, that's a lot of money to give up over identity politics, but it's not just identity politics, it's
Yeah.
the whole direction.
Yeah, they're part of an agenda that is intent on pushing what was planned in the 50s and 60s. All of the degeneracy and the altering of our biology was planned in the 50s and 60s. And I've read the books that talk about it. I've found the white papers, the Dr. Holger Heiden's papers, where he says that we can make the men women and the women men. He said that in his late 60s papers that he presented to the CIA Mind Control Conference in San Francisco in 1969. Dr. Day, when he was at the big conference, the Rockefeller Planned Parenthood conference, where they talked about the sexual revolution leading eventually to the trans revolution and all that. I mean, he was at the meetings where they talked about it. So it's like, it's not. Everybody just thinks the stuff's organic, and you just got to look at entities like Tavistock. If you do read a couple books on Tavistock, you'll see how they plan everything. That's the research premier research arm and behavioral modification entity in the world. So basically, if you're the CIA, if you're the Rand Corporation, if you're the government, the Pentagon, the military, the Navy, if you're Nike, if you can get their studies, you can get them to give you techniques, research, R&D on how to change people. And that's what the whole entity is about. And so they recruited all these psychiatrists and all these creeps and weirdos, Kurt Lewin, John Rees. I mean, there's just a whole army of these. They're called change agents, right? And Rees came up with this idea to recruit an invisible army. And they even take the CEOs and train them at different. I'm trying to remember the name of the Harriman House, right? So Avril Harriman, which is where we get all the history of the Marshall Plan. Avril Harriman was in charge of the Marshall Plan and pushing all that with the creation of the EU. Well, that's also the same Harriman of the Bush Harriman, right, dynasty. So Avril Harriman, his mansion was used for training the CEOs back in the 50s or 60s in behavioral modification techniques from Tavistock. So you understand, this is not a, people think that this stuff just happens, and it's like, this is planned out decades ahead, dude.
Decades. Yeah, absolutely.